Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is July 3rd. The Rays are hot. The Yankees are not. Bench clearings and more. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? How was that intro? A little bit better than usual. I feel like I had a good one there. Yes, we're here. We are in the month of July. We are over the halfway point of the season for everybody now, I believe. Everyone's played at least 81 games. We're in the latter 3 months of the season. The All-Star break is this month. The trade deadline is exactly 30 days away. So a lot is happening right now. The World Cup is in its knockout round now, and you're in the round of 32, about to be the round of 16. So sports are moving quickly here, and we've got a big episode for y'all today. So with that being said, let's dive on into our series recap. Leading us off, we have the Mets and the Blue Jays. Bo Bichette has his emotional return to Toronto, and this series starts with an inside-the-park Little League home run from George Springer with some sloppy defense help from Juan Soto and A.J. Irving. Blue Jays win it 2-1. Solo shots from Francisco Alvarez and Luis Torrens gets the Mets a 3-0 victory. And in the last game, the Blue Jays celebrate Canada with two 3-run home runs, one from Sean Keyes in his first Major League career home run, the other a pinch hit bomb from Miles Straw. Blue Jays win another Canada's Day against another New York team, 9-3 the final. The Jays take 2 of 3. Nationals and Red Sox, Wilson Contreras a 3-run home run, Caleb Durbin a solo shot. Both of those in the first inning. The Red Sox lead it to a 6-3 victory. In Game 2, the Nats and Red Sox benches cleared in what was a crazy brawl. The Nats scored 7 runs in the 7th and 8th as they took the lead, and the game 8-1 the final. And in the last game, Andreas Shapiro and Nazman Nunez, as well as James Wood, all go deep. The Nationals clobber the Red Sox 10-2, taking 2 of 3. White Sox and Orioles now. The White Sox double their lead as they get 4 runs in the 9th to go from 4 runs to 8 runs, beating Baltimore 8-2. Colson Montgomery, Junior Perez, they both homer in what is a 7-run third inning for the White Sox, leading them to a 9-3 victory. And in the last game, Tyler O'Neill, Leody Taveras, they both go deep. The Oilers avoid the sweep with a 6-1 win. Tigers and Yankees now. Casey Mize shoves while the Tigers score 7 unanswered, leading them to a 7-3 victory. With 2 outs in the first inning of Game 2, Kerry Carpenter homers, Riley Green homers, and then with a runner on, Spencer Torkelson homers. 3 homers, score 4 runs. Riley Green would hit another home run later on, as did James Outman. Tigers win it 9-3, and in the last game, the Yankees down to tie it. With 2 runs in the 9th, we go to extras, but the Yankees blow it in the 11th after 1 run already is in. Bases are loaded. Zach McKinstry gets the single, and because of some sloppy Yankee defense and throwing errors, the bases end up scoring 3 runs. 6-2 Tigers in 11 the final. The Tigers sweep the Yankees, who continue to lose. Rays and Royals now. Junior Caminero and Ryan Valade both go deep in a 6-run third inning for the Rays. Bobby Witt has a 2-homer game, but the Rays clobber them 10-4 the final. In Game 2, Junior Caminero hits his 6th straight game with a home run. He's been on fire. Cedric Mullins hits his 9th of the season. The Rays win it 4-0. And in the last game, Mullins homers in back-to-back games. The Rays keep on winning while the Yankees keep on losing. 5-2 Rays the final. Rangers and Guardians now. The Rangers tack on 4 runs in the last 3 innings as they take the lead, beating the Guardians 6-3. Then in Game 2, Jock Peterson and Josh Young both homer for Texas in a 4-2 victory. They looked for the sweep but could not find it as David Fry hits a home run for 5 runs in the 2nd inning. Austin Hedges goes deep later on. The Guardians avoid the sweep with a 9-4 victory. Twins and Astros now. Cam Smith, a 2-homer game, but the Twins had Royce Lewis, Victor Caratini, and Josh Bell all homer as they edge out the Astros 5-4 the final. In Game 2, Yordan Alvarez caps off a 6-run fourth with a grand slam for his 26th of the year. The Astros win it 6-4. And in the road match, it's the Twins killing again. Josh Bell, Cody Clemens, Luke Heschel, all going deep. 8-3 Minnesota as the Twins take 2 of 3. Dodgers and A's now. Max Muncy, Andy Pages, Shohei Ohtani, all homer. It's a 9-4 Dodgers win. Then the two guys you'd least expect, Tommy Edman and Miguel Rojas, both go deep in a 9-3 Dodgers win. And in the last game, it's Jonah Heim, it's Shea Langoliers, and Alika Williams, who all go deep for the A's, who avoided the sweep to the Dodgers with a 7-1 win. Angels and Mariners now. Cole Young gets a 2-homer game. Dominic Canzone goes deep as well as the Mariners beat the Angels 6-2. Then in Game 2, the Mariners rallied for 5 in the 6th. They end up winning it 8-3, the final in that game. And in the last one, Bryce Miller pitches a gem. And the only run of this game came on a bases-loaded walk. The Mariners end up sweeping the Angels. They win that last game 1-0. Cardinals and Braves now. Nelson Velasquez, Nathan Church both go deep as the Cardinals win it 5-3. Ozzie Albies homers in Game 2, being a part of a 5-1 Braves win. And in the last game, it's Jordan Walker, it's Nathan Church, and it's Alec Burleson who all go deep. The Cardinals score 7 runs in the 7th and end up winning it 11-5, taking 2 of 3 from Atlanta. Pirates and Phillies now. They play a 4-game set. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Brandon Marsh twice. Total of 4 homers for the Phillies. But the Pirates get Ismael Valdez, Jared Triolo, and Andy Rodriguez to go deep. The Pirates score 6 in the 5th as they come back from down 5 and end up winning this one 11-7 to take the opener. In Game 2, Turner homers again. The Phillies blank the Buccos in this one, 8-0 the final. Trey Turner, 3 straight games with a home run. He also is joined by Brandon Marsh, who has 3 homers in the series. Alec Boehm also with a home run as the Phillies get Paul Skeens for a career-high 7 earned runs and end up winning it 10-6. And in the last game, Andy Rodriguez homers, Nick Gonzalez homers. The Pirates win it 6-1 as the Poop series is split in half. 2 for Pirates, 2 for the Phillies. Reds and Brewers now played a 4-game set. Bryce Terang and Joey Ortiz both homering in Game 1, part of a 5-3 victory. Then in Game 2, it's 2 different Brewers going deep. Jake Bowers and Jackson Churio in a 7-2 Milwaukee win. In the 3rd game, tied at 2, Garrett Mitchell delivers with a go-ahead triple for his 7th home run, Jesus Christ. Garrett Mitchell with the go-ahead triple in the 7th inning of this one. The Brewers hold on to a 4-2 victory. Garrett Mitchell would homer in the 4th and final game, but the Reds would get it from Sal Stewart, Jose Trevino, and TJ Friedl, who all go deep in a 7-2 Reds win as they salvage the 4-game set to avoid the sweep winding the last game. Padres and Cubs now. Seiya Suzuki, the hero in Game 1. He is the walk-off single as the Cubs take the opener in dramatic fashion, 3-2 the final. In Game 2, Fernando Tatis Jr., a 2-homer game, but the Cubs mash 5 home runs. Dansby Swanson with 2 of them, Alex Bregman, Michael Busch, and Pete Crow Armstrong all with 1. The Cubs win it 9-7, and in the last game, Sung-Mun Song hits his first career MLB home run, but it comes on a day that the Cubs clubbed 8 more home runs, 3 of which came off the bat from Dansby Swanson, his first ever 3-homer game. He has 5 in a 2-day span. Seiya Suzuki homers again, PCA homers again, Michael Busch homers again, and then you get 2 from Michael Conforto, the total of 8. The Cubs club the Padres 23-3 as they sweep them in the series. Giants and D-backs now. Ketel Marte, Nolan Arenado, they both go deep in a 5-4 victory. Ketel Marte homers again in the 2nd game, as does Lourdes Gurriel Jr. as the D-backs win it 8-2. And in the last game, Heliot Ramos goes deep. Victor Barricado goes deep. Giants with a 6-4 victory avoids the sweep in Arizona. And lastly, you have the Marlins and the Rockies, who played a 4-game set. Otto Lopez, Griffin Conine both go deep as the Finns score 8 unanswered as they come back to take a 10-7 win in the opener. They then scored in 7 of the 9 different innings in Game 2. They get home runs from Javier Sanhoja, Joe Mack, and Owen Casey, leading the Finns to a 14-3 victory. Here come the Rockies, though, for Game 3. Mickey Moniak, Hunter Goodman, and Kyle Carros all go deep in a 6-3 Rockies win. And in the last game, the Rockies return the favor with a scoring 7 runs in the 6th inning. Mickey Moniak goes deep. Jake McCarthy goes deep, both of them with the home runs, leading the Rockies to a 14-4 victory. Both teams get a 14-run victory, and they end up splitting the 4-game set 2 apiece for your series recap. All right, now let's get to the game of the week, and we're going to Philly for the Poop Series. Pirates and Phillies, Game 1 happening on the Monday, and it starts in the bottom of the first as Trey Turner hits a leadoff home run, his 8th of the season, puts the Phillies up 1-0, and after Schwarber and Harper get out, Brandon Marsh doubles that lead with a solo shot home run of his own, his 13th of the season. Both these guys homered 3 times in the series. They got off to the start right away. Bottom 3, Kyle Schwarber with a sac fly makes it 3-0 Philly. Then with a runner on, it's Bryce Harper who hits his 20th home run of the season, a 2-run shot, and all of a sudden it's 5-0 Philly as they're up and early. Top 4th, it's Esmeralda Valdez with his 6th home run of the season. A 2-run shot gets the Pirates on the board. Top 5, Jared Triolo. It's his first home run of the season. A solo shot makes it 5-3. Then Brandon Lau with a sac fly makes it 5-4 before Ryan O'Hearn singles, making it 5-5, a brand new game, but we are not done in the inning. Endy Rodriguez would walk with the bases loaded to make it 6-5, and then Tyler Callahan grounds into a force out. Bryce Harper ends up getting 1 out, but 2 runners come in to score because of a throwing error from Turner, and all of a sudden, the Pirates entered the inning down 3. They walk out of it up 3, scoring 6 runs in the inning, and it's 8-5 Pittsburgh. We go now to the bottom of the 8th, where Brandon Marsh hits his 2nd homer of the game, his 14th of the season. Solo shot puts the Phillies within 2. JT Realmuto with the RBI single, and it's a 1-run game, 8-7 Pittsburgh with the lead, but with 2 runners on in the top of the 9th, Endy Rodriguez makes sure that it stays that way, hitting his 4th home run of the season. A 3-run shot turns an 8-7 lead to an 11-7 lead. Those 3 insurance runs would not matter, though, as the Pirates hold the Phillies in the bottom half, win it 11-7 in the final, but useful regardless. And that is your game of the week, a very good one at that. And that brings us to our baseball news. And as I said, there is a lot to talk about. So where should we begin? Well, how about we talk about the AL East? We've got a big switch up. For so long, the Yankees have been leading the Tampa Bay Rays in this division, but this week has been a crazy week for both the Rays and Yankees, just in opposite ways. The Rays have won and won and won and won and won, and that's all they've been doing. They are the first AL team to 50 wins thanks to a current 8-game winning streak that they have been on. And not only that, but before this win streak started, they were 3.5 games back of the Yankees. They are now 4 games up on the Yankees in the span of a week. That is next to impossible. It's unheard of. And the only reason it happened is because while the Rays are on their current 8-game winning streak, the Yankees have lost 7 in a row, which means for the Rays and the Yankees, you've essentially made up 7.5 games. In this blink of an eye, a 3.5 deficit for the Rays has turned into a 4-game lead. In 7 days, they've made up 7.5 games on the Yankees, a complete rewrite of the AL East and this division at the halfway point of the season. This is massive for the Rays right now, because the Yankees, it kind of felt like they were going to start running away with it. And listen, the Yankees aren't at their best right now. Of course, no Judge still. Um, and, we knew kind of, I felt like they were playing out of their mind in terms of like, they're winning like the lucky games, they're winning the skillful game. Like, you look at MLB right now, their expected win loss should be 52 and 34. That's a 4-game difference right now, that the Yankees, I guess they've kind of, it's the opposite of what I'm saying, actually. The Yankees should have 52 wins, and they have 48, so the luck hasn't been going the Yankees' way. I will say it's definitely going the Rays' way, whose expected win-loss is 46 and 38, and instead they're 51 and 33. They are a total of 5 games better than what they should be. It's been a crazy week for these teams. The Rays just got to keep this up right now. Obviously, the Yankees will eventually win games, and of course, the Rays will lose games. But right now, this has been a very important defining week for the Rays. And by the way, once you get through this weekend, the Rays and Yankees face off each other to start the month of July here. Like, I guess the first full week in July. That's going to be a crazy series, because if we go through this weekend, the Rays sweep, the Yankees get swept. I mean, we're talking about the Rays being on, an 11-game winning streak, while the Yankees have lost 10 in a row, and then they have to face each other, the hottest team in baseball versus the coldest team, with a division lead that keeps growing and growing and growing. I mean, this is big right now for the Tampa Bay Rays. You got to be feeling hella good, while these Yankees continue to spiral. Not good at all. Let's move on here. Talk about Josh Naylor. Now, this, I got to go back to the whole story here, because it's kind of a wonky story, but it stems from the weekend set last weekend, when the Rangers were playing, sorry, not the Rangers, the Mariners, that's the right team, were playing the Guardians, Josh Naylor's old team in the mix here. Of course, Naylor bouncing around from team to team at times, now a Mariner, but once was a Guardian with his brother, Bo Naylor. And we had a game between the Mariners and Guardians where Josh Naylor and Austin Hedges were kind of jarring at each other for a decent chunk of the game, a couple innings. They were kind of going at it. You've got Austin Hedges on the mic and the lip reading, basically saying to Naylor that nobody likes him, not even his teammates, and that Josh Naylor's antics are, pushing it. And I agree, sometimes his antics are a little bit overwhelming, especially for the game. But he is an entertaining player. He is a good player. He's definitely had a tough year, but I like Josh Naylor. I like his play style, and I like the way he goes about his business. Could it be irritating for some players? Can I understand why some players, might not like him? Yeah, like he's one of those guys where if you're teammates with him, you should like this guy. And if you're going up against this guy, you should hate this guy. And that's kind of what you want sometimes, for your players, for the players of these fan bases, etc. But they going back and forth. And what's interesting is that Hedges and Naylor, of course, were teammates for a long time. They were traded together from the Padres. I mean, you go back to the Padres where Hedges was, the catcher, and Josh Naylor was this up-and-coming prospect. The two of them got traded together to Cleveland, where they continued to be teammates. You have Hedges on record saying what a great teammate Josh Naylor is, and what a great guy, and how he can be misunderstood, and all these like really nice positive quotes. And then you have this whole thing come up, which is a whole whirlwind in its own right. And then you got social media here where this guy recalls a story of Josh Naylor and a prank that went too far with one of his teammates. And apparently that teammate happened to be Stone Garrett, who, of course, was with the Padres in the organization with Josh Naylor when they were rookies, when they were prospects coming up into the farm system. Of course, Stone Garrett, was with the Nationals Major League wise a few years ago, I believe in 2023 or 2024. I think 2024 sounds about right. Maybe even last year, I forget. But I do remember Stone Garrett being on the Nationals. He commented on this post, basically confirming that it did happen and that the whole thing was kind of brushed under the rug. But Josh Naylor and him, teammates, roommates, were sharing rooms and everything. One day, Naylor jumped out of the closet with a knife and accidentally stabbed Stone Garrett in his hand, and that was a story that came out. And like, apparently Josh Naylor is more crazy than we thought. I mean, you look at the antics that this guy has on the field. I mean, I remember when he was with Cleveland hitting those home runs, smashing his head against the wall and like just beating himself up with it. I mean, you gotta scratch your head a little bit about some of this stuff. And I mean, like, all in all, I don't think it makes that big of a crazy difference right now for Seattle. If the Mariners are in the position where they're happy and they like the guy and the teammates like the guy, any kind of weird past stories and stuff, you think about it a little bit, but it shouldn't be what defines a player, especially as they grow. I find it interesting about Austin Hedges, though, about how, on record, you've got quotes about what a great teammate and what a great player and all this stuff. And, Hedges really seemed to like Josh Naylor when they were teammates. But now that they aren't, he's saying things that nobody likes him, not even his teammates, and is being all aggressive. And I mean, to me, there's obviously two sides to the story here. We, as the outsiders and as the fans, we really truly won't be able to understand exactly either side because, it is personal and it's kind of just how it is. But I'm sure, we might find out some stuff one day in the future and we'll have to see at that point. But for now, I haven't heard any comments of the Mariners players and Josh Naylor's teammates saying like, yeah, he is a bit of a psycho or, he scares me and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. For now, it's just, a story of something that happened, whether it was an accident or not an accident, or who knows exactly the story. Nobody does, except for Josh Naylor and Stone Garrett, really. But it's definitely an interesting story coming off a weekend which had two former teammates jawing at each other. Definitely something that I wanted to mention. And speaking of jawing at one another, let's move on to the bench clearing from the week here. Red Sox and Nationals. Wilson Contreras and Cade Cavalli. We go back to Tuesday because that is where the game happened here. What ends up happening, it's a bit of an interesting one, and I didn't actually have the full story about the actual brawl, like why it was caused or exactly what happened. Thanks to, of course, Mr. Jimmy O'Brien, John Boy Media. His breakdown definitely covered a lot of it. And what you ended up getting was Wilson Contreras, who, got a hit, stole a base, was all having fun, doing a little bit of telling his teammate the signs of where the catcher's setting up and everything. Obviously, that got into Cade Cavalli's skin just a little bit. But then the batter flies out to left field. Wilson Contreras, as he's rounding third, has this weird cut into the dugout and into the field from where he was running and kind of brushed by Cade Cavalli, who definitely took a little bit of exception. Wilson Contreras, after passing him, turned back to kind of apologize, but I don't think he said it out loud. I think he just kind of put his hand up a little bit. But at that point, Cade Cavalli had already turned his back on Contreras and was walking off the field, so I don't think he saw that. So you end up with Cade Cavalli getting a little pissed about Wilson Contreras just weirdly brushing by him at that point. And then you get to the next inning, the next at-bat here in the fourth. And Cade Cavalli, who had a really great game, by the way, punches out Contreras, and the hot mics were alive in this moment. Picking up what Cade Cavalli said, which basically, sit down, boy. And that got Wilson Contreras obviously riled up, and that caused the benches to clear. Now, of course, the choice of words from Cade Cavalli with the historic, affiliation of the word definitely was not right. And that was kind of what he said after the fact and, did not know about it. He put out a couple, apologies and a couple things. He had a bunch of nice, like, I say nice, but it's quotes that makes you think because it's like it's something that has been around for a long time. It's not something that's new. It's not like, oh, this word all of a sudden is something that we shouldn't be saying. It has historical impact that's been around for a long time. And Cade Cavalli isn't, some young kid. He's up there. You think he should know better. He said it was in his vocabulary and he's doing his best to now get out of it. He didn't know about the affiliation of the word back then, the historic, story with it. Um, he had one of his comments in, I think, social media on Instagram basically was saying, it hurts him to think that some, 13-year-old boy in Washington, D.C. that looked up to him, now has this negative taste in their mouth and it, he had a hard time sleeping. And it's one of those things where it's like, if it's genuine, then it's good. Like, this is good for a person, a human being, to, admit mistake, admit fault, learn from the mistake, and, apologize, take blame, and go on from that point. But it's one of those things where it's like, maybe it's just a publicity thing on social media and like he doesn't care and who knows, right? But that's beside the point. In the actual bench clearing fight, Wilson Contreras obviously took offense to being called boy. He started to charge at him. You get this little thing where he takes off his helmet, tries to throw it at Cavalli, does like this weird pump fake, ends up hitting another player in the elbow. So yeah, you have this kind of big bench clearing. Everyone's trying to push in and shove in. You have a lot of pushing and shoving in the bench clearings, especially these days. But like, definitely a more aggressive pushing and shoving than normal. At one point, you had Miles Mikolas and Nate Eaton, who was in this weird pushing and shoving circle. The two of them just kind of, going back and forth with just each other off to the side, kind of. What's interesting is that Miles Mikolas was, of course, former teammate with Wilson Contreras when they were both with the Cardinals. So that was definitely a little bit weird. Granted, this was on Tuesday, so by now we have gotten the news on the suspensions. Both Wilson Contreras and Cade Cavalli received 7-game suspensions, while the Nationals' Miles Mikolas, as well as the Red Sox' Nate Eaton, I don't know, I keep saying Eaton. Mikolas got 5 games for his actions in the brawl, while Nate Eaton got 3. So a 3-game suspension for Eaton, a 5-game for Mikolas, and then both Contreras and Cavalli with 7-game suspensions. It is interesting to note that actually during the game, it was Contreras, Mikolas, and Eaton that were ejected. Cade Cavalli actually was not ejected, which caused the Red Sox skipper to kind of lose his shit a little bit. He then got ejected, arguing that Cade Cavalli should have also been thrown out because if it wasn't for what he said, the bench clearing wouldn't have happened in the first place, which I have to agree with that. If Cade Cavalli, kept his mouth shut and just kind of struck out, Wilson Contreras and just kind of went on with his business, this bench clearing would not have happened. But because Cade Cavalli said what he said, that got Contreras heated, which caused the bench clearing to happen, which caused Miles Mikolas and Nate Eaton to get into it. So, at the end of the day, it is Cade Cavalli's fault. Obviously you put a little bit of blame on Wilson Contreras and the way he blows things up, but it's also part of his playing style. He's a guy that blows things up. He is a guy that, gets under players' skins. He's definitely one of those, personalities of baseball. So, you kind of expect that with him. He wasn't going to just take that. If someone says something to him, he's going to look up. He's going to be like, what'd you say? He's going to get into the face of a player if need be. He is that kind of guy. So I don't blame Contreras necessarily. Obviously, there's easier ways to handle the situation, but still, weird look on Cavalli's part, regardless for the actual historical and that side of things, but also the way it was just handled in general. I don't know, but I'm done talking about this. If you haven't seen this and you want to see a little bit more of it, I'd highly recommend checking out the breakdown from John Boy Media. For now, let's get into Junior Caminero has announced that he is the first player to be entered into this year's Home Run Derby. That is confirmed. Caminero will take up one of the 8 spots. And it makes sense because he has been absolutely mashing the cover off of the baseball. He has homered, or he did homer, in 6 straight games. That stretch is now over, but still 6 straight games with a home run. He homered in 8 of his last 9, which is now 8 of his last 10 after yesterday. He went home run, no homer, then 6 straight homers before not homering yesterday against the Royals on Thursday in what was the Rays' 8th win in a row. So not only are the Rays hot, but Junior Caminero has been absolutely on fire and now is in the home run derby. He'll be heading to Philly and maybe even starting the All-Star game. We won't know until officially tomorrow for the All-Star voting who will be the other starters and pitchers and reserves, etc. So we talk about all of that come Monday's episode, which we'll get into that a little bit more as well at the end of the episode. But shout out Junior Caminero. Looking forward to watching him in the home run derby this year. And now just a couple of special shoutouts from this week for things to note. First and foremost, the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts. He has reached 1,000 career managerial wins. Shout out Dave Roberts. That is quite the milestone. Of the 629 managers to have ever reached 1,000 career wins, his 0.623 winning percentage is the best among the 629 managers. That is a pretty crazy stat. You know, obviously it helps when you're only at 1,000 and so, 1,000 games. There's a lot of wins to have. But to say out of 629 managers, you're the 629th manager to reach this mark. And out of all of them, you have won the best amount of games, or the most amount, the highest winning percentage among them. It's a pretty cool thing. So shout out Dave Roberts. Good stuff there. Shout out the Miami Marlins in general for their month of June. They were the best team in the month of June. They were 20-win team in the month of June. That's only the second time in the Marlins franchise history that they finished a month with more than 20 wins or 20 plus. They have kind of gotten back into the mix of things just a little bit here. Obviously, still, a bit of a ways to go to continue to catch up with the Braves and Phillies, who are kind of going back and forth. The Braves have kind of slumped a little bit here, 2-8 in their last 10. They're 5.5 back of the Braves in third place. And only 1 game back of the wild card, and they're kind of bringing the Nationals along with them, who are just a game behind the Marlins. But Miami really turning their season around with a strong June. So shout out Miami. Love to see them fighting here. And then another shout out quickly for Dansby Swanson. We talked about him a couple episodes ago in his amazing series against the Mets, specifically in the doubleheader where between the 2 games he had like 2 home runs and 11 RBIs. You add that third game, he had like 15 RBIs in the series. It was absolutely crazy. And this series against the against the Padres, he was just as crazy. He homered twice in 1 game, and then the next day hit 3 more home runs. So in a 24-hour span, Dansby Swanson hit 5 major league home runs. You go back to that series against the Mets. In his last 10 games, he has 26 RBIs. There are some players who are just getting to 20 RBIs this season with a home run or something. Like Dansby Swanson, in the span of 10 games, has had a better season than some of these players had across the 80-plus games that they've played already so far this season, or something close to that. So Dansby Swanson, he's been hot, as has been the Cubs, really. 5-game winning streak, 9-1 in their last 10. They're doing great stuff right now. The hitting and the offense has just turned it on. Pete Crow Armstrong had a fantastic month of June, one of the best players, of course. We'll talk about player of the month next episode as well. Bregman's been turning it on just a little bit more. Seiya Suzuki's been great. The pitching is slightly getting better as well. So the Cubs in great position as they keep on moving through this season here. Speaking of moving on, let's move on into the rest of our episode here. Get through our injury updates. First and foremost, the A's have announced that Brent Rooker will undergo surgery and he will be down for the remainder of the season. Bit of a blow there from the A's, and he's not the only one that's ending up out for a long period of time here, because Tyler Soderstrom will land on the 10-day IL with a hip impingement here. So tough blow there for the A's as well. Two of their power sluggers down on the IL. At least one is, going to be returning at some point this season. Mitchell Parker lands on the 15-day IL with a sprained elbow. The Cubs lose Matt Shaw on the 10-day IL with a sprained left hand. Jason Adam from the Padres, 15-day IL with a strained shoulder. Jeremy Pena, another stint on the IL for him this season, a strained calf for the Astros there. Dane Myers from the Reds, 10-day IL with a shoulder contusion. Kennelly Early from the Boston Red Sox, 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. Matt Chapman on the 10-day IL from the Giants with a strained abdominal, while Corey Seager from Texas on the 10-day IL with lower back inflammation. So a couple of big mashes there towards the end between Corey Seager and Matt Chapman. So those are your injury updates. Let's get into the outstanding performances from the week here. There was some good ones, including Casey Mize against the Yankees, who goes 7 innings only with 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. Great stuff there. Zebby Matthews for your Twins goes 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. George Kirby was great, 8 innings, 7 hits, just 2 runs, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. Nolan McLean against the Blue Jays goes 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. Cade Cavalli, again, lucky that he stayed in the game but didn't get ejected because he was on a heater, going 7 innings with only 1 hit given up, no runs, no walks, and also struck out 13 batters. Probably one of the best starts of his career. Tarek Skubal against the Yankees went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, no walks, and 9 Ks. Just giving up a solo shot there. Jacob deGrom, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 9 Ks. Those 2 runs was 1 mistake pitch for a 2-run home run. Otherwise, deGrom was very good and sharp in this one. Christopher Sanchez goes 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. A special one here, I guess, Spencer Miles from the Toronto Blue Jays on Canada Day. Miles was a relief pitcher in this game. It was a bullpen day for the Blue Jays. But what I saw this guy do in person was go 3 innings, only allowing 1 hit out of the bullpen, no runs, 1 walk, and struck out 5. I mean, his stuff was dominant against the Mets on Canada Day. So special shout out for relief pitcher being in the outstanding performances here in Spencer Miles. Moving on, though, we did have Troy Melton from the Tigers go 6 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, and 7 Ks. Shane McClanahan's been very good, going 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 Ks. Trevor McDonald for the Giants kind of shut down Arizona, going 6 innings only with 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and 5 Ks. Ian Seymour goes 6 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, and 8 Ks. And then shut out Bryce Miller. He brought a no-hitter into the 7th inning before losing it, but still finished with a productive win, going 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 8 Ks. Good stuff from Miller. Good stuff overall here, as we now move into our stat leaderboard and see what has changed. And I'll be honest, absolutely nothing besides the numbers. Everyone is the same. Otto Lopez still leads in average, down to now 336. He still leads in hits with 115. Kyle Schwarber still leading in home runs, up to 30. Nick Kurtz still leading in RBIs at 64. James Wood still leads in runs at 75. Again, Nick Kurtz leads in walks at 75. Nazmin Nunez with 32 stolen bases. Yon Alvarez, a 1.053 OPS. Aaron Ashby up to 12 wins on the season. Jacob Mizrowski still leading in ERA and strikeouts, 1.47 ERA, 156 strikeouts, while Cade Smith still leads in saves with 26. Absolutely no changes between the actual players, just the numbers that get a little up and down, mixy, lefty, righty, etc., etc. here. As we'll take a look now at the upcoming series for the weekend, and there are some good ones. The Twins in New York to take on the Yankees. Of course, 4th of July festivities happening tomorrow on Saturday. The Phillies are in town in Kansas City to take on the Royals. You've got White Sox at Guardians. Of course, these two teams still separated by absolutely nothing. They're tied right now as it stands, so that's a big series for the AL Central. You have Tigers at Rangers, Rays at Astros as the Rays look to continue their 7-game winning streak, scratched at their 8-game winning streak. Of course, Yankees trying to beat the Twins and end their 7-game skid. You've got the Red Sox at the Angels, Blue Jays at the Mariners. You got an ALCS rematch between the Jays and Mariners. Marlins at A's, Mets at Braves in a 4-game set. That's a fun one there. You've got Pirates at Nationals, Cardinals at Cubs. Little battle there between the NL Central rivals. Oilers at Reds. Brewers at D-backs, Giants at Rockies, two of the worst teams in baseball this season. And it rounds off with the Padres and the Dodgers. If the Padres want any hope at chasing the Dodgers for the division, they're going to have to do big things in this series. And by big things, I mean sweep them in the series. That's kind of the only thing the Padres can do this weekend here against the Dodgers. As we now take a look at our playoff predictor. If the baseball season ended today, your Seattle Mariners are in the 6th seed. They would take on the Rangers in the 3 seed. A little AL West matchup there. While the Guardians in the 5 seed take on the Yankees in the 4 seed. Guardians would beat up on the Yankees, who again have lost 7 straight, while the Rangers beat the Mariners. They've been pretty good. Rangers against the White Sox in the 2 seed. Guardians against the Rays in the 1 seed. Rangers upset the White Sox, while the Rays handle business. Of course, 8-game winning streak. They're very good. Your ALCS matchup, your Texas Rangers, your Tampa Bay Rays, and it is the Rays that move on to the World Series to represent the AL. On the NL side, the Cardinals are your 6 seed team still. They take on the Braves in the 3 seed, while the Phillies in the 5 seed take on the Cubs in the 4 seed. Cardinals, for the first time all year long, finally gets past a wild card. They are heading to the division series, beating the Braves, while the Cubs beat the Phillies. So your NLDS matchups, Cardinals against the Brewers, who are the 2 seed, while the Cubs play the Dodgers, who are the 1 seed. That series would be so very good and competitive, but it would fall the Cubs' way again, 9-1 in their last 10 on a 5-game heater. Meanwhile, the Brewers beat the Cardinals in the NL Central battle there. So you have another NL Central battle in your NLCS matchup, and it's an NLDS rematch from last season, the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. And this time the Cubs finish the business. They get the revenge. They head to the World Series as they beat the Brewers. You've got a Cubs-Rays World Series. 2 teams that are mostly blue, that have 4 letters in their names. But it would be your Tampa Bay Rays on an MLB best 8-game winning streak. That would be your World Series champions if the season started today. Because of course they are. They're a very good team, and they're showing it right now. So good stuff overall, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to do it for our episode here today. Bit of a longer one, especially in terms of course, last episode, last Monday, which was a little bit unfortunate. Got really busy, had to make it kind of short, sweet, and cute, and that's what I tried to do. This one, a little bit more back to the normal timing of things. I will note, come Monday's episode, it's going to be a little bit different. We won't have the full series recap. up to Sunday. We're going to try for the player of the month, as well as talking about the All-Star voting and some other things there. So it's still going to be a good episode, but I'm going to be recording it a little bit earlier than I usually do. On the Sunday, actually, is when I'll be recording it. So, with all the games that happen on Sunday, I won't fully have them yet. That is because I will be away for a little bit, so I'm going to have to record it in advance. So not everything will be done, but we'll still have some things to be talking about. So it's still going to be a good episode. So stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, buddy, so much. And I will see you for that episode on Monday.